Rome had survived its birth. Remus was dead. The walls of the new city stood on the Palatine Hill, and Romulus was now king. The future seemed bright. But Rome had a problem so serious that it threatened the city's very survival. There were almost no women. Rome had become a refuge for outcasts, exiles, adventurers, and ambitious young men from across Italy. The city was growing. Its population was rising. Its army was expanding. But a city without families has no future. Without wives, without children, without future generations, Rome would eventually disappear. Romulus knew it, and so did everyone else. The Romans first tried diplomacy. Envoys were sent to neighboring towns and tribes. The message was simple: allow your daughters to marry Roman men. But the answer was always the same: no. To Rome's neighbors, the young city was little more than a collection of criminals and wanderers. Why would respectable families marry their daughters to Romans? The humiliation strung. Again and again, Rome was rejected. As the months passed, the problem became more dangerous. Without women, Rome could never become more than a temporary settlement. Something had to change, and Romulus devised a plan that would be remembered for thousands of years. Messengers spread across the region, announcing a grand festival in Rome. Games, competitions, celebrations. The neighboring peoples were invited to attend. Many accepted. Among them were the Sabines, one of the most powerful tribes in central Italy. Families arrived from across the region. Men, women, children. The festival began. The crowds cheered. Athletes competed. Musicians played. Everything appeared normal. Then Romulus gave a signal, and chaos erupted. Roman men rushed into the crowd. The women were seized. Families were separated. Parents screamed for their daughters. Brothers fought desperately to protect their sisters. But the Romans had planned carefully. The visitors were driven from the city. The women remained behind. The event would become known as the rape of the Sabine women. In the ancient Roman sense of the word, rape, meaning abduction or kidnapping. But whatever word is used, the reality was undeniable. Rome had taken the women of its neighbors by force. Across central Italy, outrage exploded. The neighboring tribes demanded the return of their daughters. Romulus refused. War became inevitable. One by one, Rome's enemies prepared for battle. The young city now faced its first great test. Could it survive the anger of every tribe around it? The first attacks came quickly. Several neighboring communities attempted to crush Rome before it became stronger. But Romulus defeated them. Each victory increased Roman confidence. Each victory expanded Roman territory. Yet the greatest challenge was still coming. The Sabines were preparing for war. Their king was a man named Titus Tatius. Unlike Rome's other enemies, the Sabines were powerful, disciplined, determined, and they had a deeply personal reason to fight. They were not fighting for land. They were fighting for their daughters. The war that followed became Rome's first major conflict. Battles were fought across the hills surrounding the city. Neither side could achieve a decisive victory. The fighting grew increasingly bitter. And then, at the height of the conflict, something extraordinary happened. The women themselves entered the battlefield. The same women whose abduction had started the war. But everything had changed. Months had passed. Many had married Roman men. Many had become mothers. They now stood between two worlds. The fathers who wanted them back, and the husbands they had come to love. As Roman warriors and Sabine warriors prepared to clash once again, the women ran between the armies. They begged their fathers to stop. They begged their husbands to stop. If either side won, they argued they would lose. Either their fathers would die, or their husbands would. Either way, the women would suffer. The battlefield fell silent. The war that had begun because of the women was now being ended by them. The fighting stopped. Peace negotiations followed. And in one of the most remarkable moments in Roman history, the Romans and Sabines agreed to unite. Two peoples became one. Titus Tatius would rule alongside Romulus. The Sabines became part of Rome. The city's population grew. Its power increased. Its future was secured. What had begun as a desperate act had transformed the destiny of Rome. The city was no longer a fragile settlement struggling to survive. It was becoming something larger, something stronger, something destined to dominate central Italy. But Rome's greatest challenges still lay ahead. In the next episode, new kings will rule the city. Rome will expand beyond the dreams of Romulus, and the foundations of a future empire will begin to take shape. The 7 Kings of Rome.